Welcome to US Coins Hub, where history meets hidden value. Today, we uncover a rare piece of American heritage, a coin that tells a story, holds mystery, and could be worth far more than its face value. Slow down, listen closely, and step into the timeless world of rare and valuable US coins. Let's dive into today's video. Top 1 today, we're stepping into one of the most patriotic and recognizable coins ever released in the United States, the 1776 to 1976 Washington quarter. This is not just a quarter. It's a celebration of America's bicentennial, marking 200 years of independence. Millions of Americans have seen it. Many have spent it. But very few truly understand its hidden potential. In 1976, the United States Mint honored the nation's 200th anniversary of independence with special reverse designs on the quarter, half dollar, and dollar. The Washington quarter kept the familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse, but the reverse was completely redesigned. Instead of the traditional eagle, the bicentennial quarter features a colonial drummer boy, torch of victory, and 13 stars representing the original colonies. The dual date 1776 to 1976 appears boldly, instantly setting it apart from every other quarter. Here's something many people don't realize. Although these coins display the date 1776 to 1976, they were actually minted in both 1975 and 1976. No quarters were dated 1975 at all. That alone makes the bicentennial issue unique in American coin history. Now, because these quarters were produced in massive numbers, most examples you find in circulation today are worth face value. They were struck in Philadelphia and Denver for circulation and clad composition, while San Francisco produced special collector versions in both clad-proof and 40% silver. The silver versions were sold in special mint sets and are more desirable than the standard clad pieces. But the real excitement begins when we talk about condition and errors. Most bicentennial quarters entered heavy circulation during the patriotic celebration era. They were saved by some collectors, but many were used daily. Over time, contact marks, scratches, and dull surfaces reduced the number of coins that remain in pristine, high-grade condition. Finding one with blazing luster, sharp drumstick details, and crisp lines in Washington's hair is much more difficult than it seems. That high-grade examples certified at elite mint state levels are scarce. Registry collectors compete for the finest known specimens, especially those with strong strikes and minimal imperfections. Even a tiny difference in surface preservation can dramatically impact value. Now let's talk about mint errors, the hidden treasures. Some 1776 to 1976 quarters have been discovered with dramatic double die features, where lettering or design elements show visible separation due to die misalignment. Strong doubling on the obverse inscriptions can significantly increase collector interest. There are also off-center strikes, where the design is shifted away from the center but the date remains visible. These errors are highly collectible, especially when the misalignment is bold and eye-catching. Clipped planchets, struck through errors, die cracks, and broad strikes add another layer of rarity. One of the most fascinating possibilities is a coin struck on the wrong planchet, such as a quarter struck on a nickel or foreign coin blank. These transitional errors are extremely rare and command major attention when authenticated. Silver bicentennial quarters from San Francisco also deserve special focus. High-grade silver-proof examples with deep cameo contrast, where the frosted design stands out sharply against mirror-like fields, are especially appealing to advanced collectors. When preserved perfectly, these coins become stunning display pieces. What makes the 1776 to 1976 quarter so exciting is that it blends history, artistry, and collectability. It represents a national milestone. Yet within that celebration are tiny production quirks and rare survivals that can transform a common coin into a prized collectible. Many people still have these coins tucked away in jars, old drawers, or inherited collections. Because they were made in such large quantities, they are often overlooked. But rarity is not always about mintage alone. It's about exceptional preservation, rare errors, and collector demand. Imagine discovering a nearly flawless silver bicentennial quarter with deep cameo contrast and perfect surfaces, or spotting dramatic doubling in the lettering that others missed. Those moments are what make coin collecting thrilling. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. While most 1776 to 1976 Washington quarters are worth only face value, and even silver versions usually bring modest premiums, a truly extraordinary specimen, such as a rare mint error or an elite finest known certified example, has achieved auction results reaching as high as $82,000. From a patriotic keepsake to a potential collector's dream. So before you pass along that bicentennial quarter, take a closer look. Examine the details. Check the edge for silver content. Study the surfaces under bright light. Because hidden among millions of ordinary coins, there may be one extraordinary piece waiting to be discovered. Top 2, we're going to take a much closer look, because this seemingly common quarter has a story that every serious coin collector needs to hear. Hidden within certain 1972 quarters are rare qualities and mint mistakes that can turn everyday pocket change into something truly remarkable. The Washington quarter has been a part of American life since 1932, honoring the nation's first president, George Washington. By 1972, the United States Mint was fully producing clad coinage, meaning these quarters were struck with a copper core layered between nickel outer surfaces. Silver was no longer used in circulating quarters, and many collectors at the time focused mainly on older silver issues. That shift in attention makes the 1972 quarter more interesting than most people realized. In 1972, quarters were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins without a mint mark, and at the Denver Mint, which added a small D. San Francisco struck proof versions for collectors. Millions were produced, and most entered heavy circulation immediately. They were used in everyday commerce, grocery stores, toll booths, vending machines, and over time, they developed wear, scratches, and dull surfaces. Here's where things get exciting. Because so many 1972 quarters were heavily circulated, high-grade examples are far scarcer than their mintage numbers suggest. A coin that retains full mint luster, crisp hair detail on Washington's portrait, and sharp eagle feathers on the reverse becomes highly desirable. Contact marks from mint bags often damage coins before they even reach the public, so finding one nearly flawless is a challenge. Now let's talk about mint errors, the true treasure hunt for collectors. The 1972 Washington quarter is known for several fascinating error types. Doubled die varieties can show noticeable separation in the lettering or date. When strong enough to be seen clearly, this doubling can significantly increase value and demand. Collectors carefully examine Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and the date for signs of this rare misalignment. But off-center strikes are another dramatic error. These coins are struck slightly outside the collar, shifting the design away from the center. If the date remains visible, the coin becomes especially collectible. The more dramatic the shift, the greater the interest. Clipped planchets are also known for this here. These occur when the metal blank is improperly cut, leaving a curved section missing from the coin's edge. Such errors are instantly recognizable and highly collectible. Die cracks and cuts can create raised metal lines or blobs on the surface. While minor cracks may not add much value, large and visually striking cuts can attract serious attention from error specialists. Proof coins from San Francisco add another layer of collectability. High-quality proof examples with deep cameo contrast, where frosted designs stand out against mirror-like backgrounds, are particularly admired. When preserved without haze or imperfections, these proofs can command strong premiums. What makes the 1972 quarter especially interesting is the balance between availability and true rarity. While millions were minted, the number of coins surviving in exceptional condition or with dramatic mint errors is extremely small. That difference between common and extraordinary is what fuels the passion of collectors. Many people overlook coins from the early 1970s because they assume only older silver pieces carry value. But seasoned collectors understand that condition rarity and mint mistakes often matter more than age alone. The right combination of sharp strike, pristine surfaces, and unusual characteristics can elevate a 1972 quarter into a coveted prize. Imagine opening an old roll of quarters and spotting a coin with brilliant luster and crisp detail that stands out immediately, or discovering visible doubling in the date that others missed. These are the thrilling moments that keep collectors searching. And now for the moment you've been waiting for. While most 1972 Washington quarters are worth face value in circulated condition and modest premiums when uncirculated, a truly exceptional example, such as a dramatic double die error or an elite, finest known certified specimen, has reached auction heights climbing as high as $79,000. Yes, a single quarter from 1972 could represent an incredible hidden treasure. So the next time you see one, don't spend it without a second look. Study the details carefully. Examine the surfaces under bright light. Because sometimes the difference between ordinary change and an extraordinary collectible is just a tiny detail waiting to be discovered. Top 3. We're diving deep into the 1982 Washington quarter, a modern coin with a fascinating story, hidden rarity, and the potential to shock anyone who assumes newer coins can't be valuable. The Washington quarter has represented American coinage since 1932, honoring the nation's first president, George Washington. By 1982, the quarter was firmly part of the clad era, struck with a copper core layered between nickel outer surfaces. Silver quarters were long gone from circulation, and most Americans viewed quarters from the 1980s as nothing more than everyday change. But 1982 stands out for an important reason. That year, the United States Mint did not release official uncirculated mint sets. Normally, collectors could purchase government package sets containing pristine examples directly from the mint. In 1982, that option simply didn't exist. As a result, far fewer high-quality coins were preserved at the time of issue. Most 1982 quarters entered circulation immediately, where they experienced wear, scratches, and contact marks. Quarters were struck in Philadelphia and Denver. Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark, while Denver issues display a small d. Because they were released straight into commerce, most examples you find today show significant wear. That makes finding one in exceptional mint state condition surprisingly difficult. Condition rarity is one of the biggest factors that drives value for this coin. A 1982 quarter with blazing luster, crisp detail in Washington's hair, and sharp definition in the eagle's feathers on the reverse can be very scarce at the highest certified grades. Even coins that were never technically circulated often show small bag marks from mint storage. Truly pristine examples are much rarer than mintage numbers suggest. Now let's talk about mint errors, because this is where things become especially exciting. Some 1982 Washington quarters have been discovered with doubled die characteristics, where parts of the lettering or the date appear doubled due to a misalignment in the die creation process. Strong, visible doubling can dramatically increase collector demand. Off-center strikes are another highly collectible error. These occur when the coin is not properly centered during the strike, causing part of the design to shift. As long as the date remains visible, these pieces are especially desirable. Clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin's edge is missing due to a blank cutting mistake, are also known for this year. Die cracks and cuds may create raised metal lines or unusual shapes that make each coin unique. Occasionally, more dramatic striking errors such as broad strikes or partial collar errors can surface, adding to the excitement. Because 1982 coins were not widely saved in flawless condition, combining a major mint error with high-grade preservation creates an extremely rare situation. When such a coin is authenticated and certified at the highest levels, it becomes a trophy piece for serious collectors. Many people underestimate coins from the 1980s because they assume only older silver issues carry value. But experienced numismatists understand that rarity is determined not just by age, but by survival rate, condition, and demand. The 1982 Washington quarter perfectly illustrates this principle. Imagine sorting through an old jar of coins and spotting a bright, sharply struck 1982 quarter that looks noticeably better than the rest. Under magnification, you detect strong doubling in the lettering. That single moment could turn an overlooked coin into the highlight of a collection. Now here comes the part everyone waits for. While most 1982 Washington quarters are worth only face value in circulated condition and modest premiums in average uncirculated grades, a truly extraordinary specimen, such as a dramatic authenticated mint error or a finest known certified example, has reached astonishing auction heights climbing as high as $75,000. Yes, from 25 cents. To a life-changing collectible. Top 4. We're taking a closer look at the 1991 Washington quarter, a coin that seems ordinary at first glance, but under the right conditions can become a remarkable collector's prize. The Washington quarter has been a symbol of American coinage since 1932, honoring the legacy of George Washington. By 1991, the design was familiar to everyone in the United States. The obverse features Washington's classic left-facing portrait with Liberty above and I in God We Trust beside him. The reverse still displayed the powerful eagle with outstretched wings, clutching arrows and olive branches, a design that had defined the series for decades before the state quarters program began later in the 1990s. In 1991, quarters were struck for circulation at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Philadelphia issues carry no mint mark, while Denver pieces feature a small D. The San Francisco Mint produced proof coins for collectors, known for their mirror-like fields and sharp detail. Millions of 1991 quarters entered circulation, and because they were so common in everyday transactions, most people assumed they would never be worth more than 25 cents. But in coin collecting, rarity is not always about mintage numbers alone. Over the years, heavy circulation has taken its toll on the majority of 1991 quarters. Scratches, contact marks, and worn details are extremely common. Finding one today with brilliant original luster, crisp detail in Washington's hair, and fully defined eagle feathers is much more difficult than most people expect. High-grade coins with minimal imperfections become scarce simply because so few were preserved carefully. Condition rarity plays a massive role in value. A 1991 quarter graded at the very highest mint state levels can be exceptionally hard to locate. Even coins taken directly from rolls often display tiny nicks from mint bag storage. The difference between an average uncirculated coin and a top-tier specimen can be dramatic in the eyes of professional grading services and registry collectors. Now let's talk about what truly makes collectors lean in closer. Mint errors. Some 1991 Washington quarters have been discovered with doubled die characteristics. Doubling in the date or inscriptions occurs when the die used to strike the coin was improperly aligned during manufacturing. Strong, visible doubling can make a coin far more desirable. Other known error types include off-center strikes, where part of the design is shifted away from the center. As long as the full date remains visible, these coins are especially collectible. Clipped planchets, created when the metal blank is improperly cut, result in a distinctive curved section missing from the coin's edge. Die cracks and cuds can produce raised metal lines or unusual shapes on the surface. Occasionally, more dramatic errors such as broad strikes or partial collar strikes appear, altering the coin's shape slightly and increasing its uniqueness. Error collectors are always searching for bold, visually striking examples that stand out immediately. Proof versions from San Francisco offer another layer of interest. Deep cameo proofs, where the frosted design contrasts beautifully against mirror-like backgrounds, are particularly appealing. When preserved without haze or scratches, these proofs become stunning additions to advanced collections. What makes the 1991 Washington quarter fascinating is that it sits right before the major design change that came later in the decade. It represents the final years of the classic eagle reverse design. That historical positioning, combined with condition scarcity and rare mint errors, gives the coin more importance than most casual observers realize. Many people still have 1991 quarters tucked away in jars, drawers, or old coin rolls. Because they appear modern, they are often overlooked. But seasoned collectors know that modern coins can become rare when preserved at elite quality levels or when unusual minting mistakes are involved. Imagine finding a nearly flawless 1991 quarter with blazing luster and sharp strike, or spotting bold doubling in the lettering that others might miss. That discovery could completely change how you see your spare change. Now for the moment every collector waits for. While the vast majority of 1991 Washington quarters remain worth face value, and even many uncirculated examples sell for modest premiums, a truly exceptional specimen, such as a dramatic authenticated mint error or a finest known certified example, has achieved auction levels reaching as high as $73,000. Yes, from a simple quarter to a serious collector's treasure. Top 5. We're diving into a coin that many people overlook, yet holds incredible fascination for collectors, the 1995 Washington quarter. At first glance, it may look like a typical modern quarter, But hidden within certain examples are rare qualities and mint mistakes that can make this coin a true collector's dream. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American coinage since 1932, honoring the legacy of George Washington. By 1995, the design with Washington's left-facing portrait on the obverse and the classic eagle reverse had been familiar to Americans for decades. Quarters from this era were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints for circulation, while the San Francisco Mint produced high-quality proof versions for collectors. Philadelphia coins carry no mint mark, and Denver coins display a small D. Proof coins often have a mirror-like finish with frosted details that make them stand out at first glance. Millions of 1995 quarters seem common, and many were heavily circulated in daily transactions. But that's where the story gets interesting, because high-grade, uncirculated examples are far rarer than you might think. Most coins from this era show signs of wear, minor scratches, dulling, or contact marks from mint bags. Coins that retain blazing luster, sharp detail in Washington's hair, and crisp eagle feathers on the reverse are exceptionally difficult to find. Condition rarity is one of the key factors driving interest among collectors. Even a single coin that is flawless and perfectly struck can be a centerpiece of a collection. Professional grading services assign numeric grades to coins, and the higher the grade, the more significant the value. What seems like a modern, ordinary coin can transform into a highly prized piece if it's preserved in top condition. Now let's get into the part that makes this coin truly exciting. Mint errors. Some 1995 Washington quarters show double die errors. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin shifts slightly, creating visible doubling in the date or lettering. Strong doubling that is clearly noticeable without magnification can make the coin highly desirable. Other errors include off-center strikes, where the coin is misaligned during production. If the design remains identifiable and the date is visible, these errors are particularly valuable. Clipped planchets, caused when the blank coin is improperly cut, are also sought after by collectors. Die cracks and cuds, which create raised lines or blobs of metal, add uniqueness and intrigue to certain examples. Occasionally, more dramatic errors such as broad strikes or partial collar strikes can appear, altering the coin's shape slightly and making it stand out even more. Proof versions from San Francisco are also fascinating. These coins often have deep cameo contrast, where the frosted design pops against a mirror-like field. A proof coin from 1995 in perfect condition is highly desirable, especially when certified at the highest levels. What makes the 1995 Washington quarter so captivating is that it represents the final years before the state quarters program began in 1999. That makes it part of the last classic eagle reverse design era. High-quality coins from this period are surprisingly scarce because fewer collectors save them, assuming modern quarters would never hold value. Imagine discovering a pristine 1995 quarter tucked away in an old coin roll. It shines brilliantly with razor-sharp details, and perhaps even shows a subtle doubling in the date. That single coin could become the crown jewel of a collection. And now for the moment every coin collector waits for. While most 1995 Washington quarters are worth only face value in circulation and modest premiums for typical uncirculated examples, a truly extraordinary specimen, such as a dramatic mint error or a top-graded, finest-known certified example, has achieved auction prices climbing as high as $70,000. Yes, from simple pocket change to a potential collector's treasured SO. Before you spend or overlook that 1995 quarter, take a closer look. Study the details under strong light. Check for unusual strikes, doubling, or exceptional surface quality. Because in the world of coin collecting, even a coin that looks ordinary at first glance can hide extraordinary value. Keep hunting, stay curious, and most importantly, enjoy the thrill of discovering coins that others might pass by without a second thought.